What if I told you everything that you've learned about wholesaling real estate is wrong? The endless cold calls, the thousands wasted on marketing, and the gut-wrenching fear of not being able to find a buyer when you lock up the property, that is all completely unnecessary. In this video, I'm going to break down the new method my students are using that is helping them close their first deal in just about 30 to 60 days with zero marketing spend. And this isn't some theory, this is the exact step-by-step system that took me from 8 months of failure to now 20 plus deals a month. Alright, for those of you who do not know me, my name is William, and just like many of you, I started my wholesaling journey the traditional route, which is banging out cold calls, pulling lists, and basically just begging people to sell their house to me. I spent 8 months of my life doing this every single day. I was able to get 5 deals under contract. You want to know how many closed? 0. Not a single one. And every single time it was a problem with the buyer. I was so frustrated. I hadn't made any money from this and I was about to quit. I decided, okay, let me just think about this. And I realized, why don't I just do the intuitive thing, which is find the buyer first and then go get what they're looking for? I had my aha moment. The problem wasn't my deals. The problem is that I was doing everything backwards. The industry teaches you to go find the deal first and then pray to find a buyer. And I decided, why don't I go lock in the buyer first, get exactly what they want, and then if I ever get someone who agrees to selling me their property that is matching their condition and the criteria, I know I have a buyer for it. So it's way more secure, it's way safer. Traditionally wholesaling, you need to find the deal, then you find the buyer. That is high risk. Secured wholesaling, which is the new route that I teach and I preach, you find the buyer, then you find the deal. That is secured. That's the one shift in my strategy that changed my entire life. So how does it work? Let me break it down. Step 1, you want to find like your unicorn buyer. So this is someone who is willing to put in hundreds of thousands, if not millions. Most people are going after scraps, going after small buyers that are just going to do one deal with them. You know, your traditional fix and flipper. I like to go find 1, 2, or 3 super solid buyers who are willing to buy 5, 10, even 20 deals a month from me and my team. My biggest buyer who students get access to wants more deals per month than I and my team can even supply, so that is where you come in. And here's the kicker. He does not even care if the deal comes from Zillow. So he gave us his exact buy box. Here are the target markets. They buy all over Ohio, they buy in Detroit, Michigan, which is one of the biggest target markets by far. He buys all over Illinois, and then also Springfield, Missouri. So students will go onto Zillow and will look up these filters. For sale, up to 150K, home type houses, no foreclosures, auctions are coming soon. And they are looking for turnkey, rent-ready, livable homes. What that means is it takes out all the guesswork of having to estimate the ARV, having to get a quote on repairs, how big is the plumbing issue, how big is the hole in the wall, how big is the hole in the ceiling. It makes it so much easier and it's way more black and white. These students will go onto Zillow and see, okay, does the property look clean? Does it look like a tenant could move in today or tomorrow? Yeah, okay, that counts as something that is turnkey, rent-ready, and livable condition, something that these buyers would want. Here's exactly how it looks when a student finds a deal on Zillow. You can see here, this is in the target market. It is under 150K. And it looks pretty turnkey. If we click on the pictures here, we scroll through, damn, pretty clean. Here's another one that just closed recently. You can see the house isn't beautiful, but it's turnkey. It's pretty much ready for a tenant. It looks like someone's already living in there. We have a third one here. Awesome. These were all found recently, and these 2 deals actually just closed this week as of filming this. This one was found by my student Eves. He got paid $5,000 for this, and this was literally just sitting out here on Zillow. So I'm just going to give you the secret sauce and show you exactly how they found this. We can go in here, we can pick a target market. Let's just say Detroit, Michigan, for example. We'll go here, type in Detroit, go to the for sale section. We can say up to 200K. Our buyers are actually okay with up to 250 now, which adds a lot of new deals for you guys to take a look at. Beds and baths will be any. Home type we want just to be houses, and then more we can leave like this. So just in the Detroit metro area, which we can expand this boundary a little bit, but just for example's sake, we're at 2,351 potential deals just sitting here on Zillow. So what students do is they will just find one that looks turnkey on here. So we'll click through the pictures. This one looks like it needs a bit of repairs. I'd stay away from that. We can click on this one. I mean, this one looks pretty decent, to be honest. What about this guy here? This also looks turnkey, and this also does. They're just sitting out there. So let's just take a look at these here. Yeah, they all look pretty good. Let's just take this one as our example. So this is a deal that I've seen in the past. It was very close to working and being a good deal, but the comps just weren't good enough to support it. But a student would come in here, they look at this, and they'd say, okay, awesome, let me look at the pictures here. Okay, cool. Yeah, it looks like a tenant could move in. You know, the shower, the bathroom's a little bit sus, but like it's pretty clean. It's ready for a tenant. And so what they would do to decide if this is really a good deal is, if you take anything away from this video, let it be this right here. The value that you are providing to these rich real estate investors as a wholesaler on Zillow is finding properties that are undervalued based on the comps nearby. And what that means in English is just This deal, for example, is listed on Zillow for $56,000. If the properties that are very similar condition are also about 1,000 square feet to maybe 1,200 square feet, in the same neighborhood within about half a mile that have sold recently, sold for significantly higher than what this is listed for, this would be basically on sale and discounted and undervalued based on its neighbors nearby. So if the comps nearby are selling for, 80K, 90K, 100K, but this one's listed at 55, this is an example of a good deal. So just for an example, let me just show you how this would look. If this was going to be our subject property, we would duplicate this tab, and instead of looking at the sold section or the for sale section, we'd actually go to the sold section. We would make this anything. The beds and baths would say as any. Home type, want to make sure it's still just houses. And the more section, we are going to change something this time. The square footage, we want to be as similar to our subject property as possible, give or take about 250. So this is 1,000, so our square footage will do 750 to 1250, giving it that little buffer on either side. And then we're going to come in here, we're going to say sold in the last 6 months. So now we're going to click apply. We're going to press this plus button over and over again, and it's going to zoom us in right to where our house is. So our house is right about here. We can cross-reference with this picture. Yep, perfectly right in this corner. And so we want to go and we want to check out the houses in the area in the same neighborhood. So we have one for 110, 61, 85, 50, 66, 22, 62, 38, and so on. These are our comps. These are our closest properties that are the similar condition and the similar square footage. And you can just tell by looking at this, for this to be a deal, we would need the comps to be, probably closer to the 90-ish range plus. These are all a little bit lower, and that's the reason why this deal didn't work. But if the comps were up here, let's remove this boundary. Let's just say, for example, our house was right about here, and the comps nearby were 117, 115, 85, 132, 162, that would be super undervalued, and this would be a good deal. And here's the part that's really cool. Let's just say that this was a good deal. Obviously, this is just a complete example, but if this was a good deal and these comps are a little bit higher to support this being something that our buyer might want, you would take these comps and you plug them into this custom ChatGPT that I've had someone code. This took a lot of time and a lot of money, and I don't know many people who are leveraging ChatGPT in this way. But we have a custom bot that will do the comps for you, which I am so pissed I didn't have when I was starting. This would have saved me so many hours of comping out deals. You can just paste the Zillow links into here, and the ChatGPT will do the entire underwriting process for you. When it does that underwriting process, it will then spit out either a red, a yellow, or a green result. A red result means that the comps are pretty weak nearby. It's best to just go on to the next deal. Yellow means that the comps are decent, but we're probably going to have to get a decent discount on the property from list price that it's on Zillow. And green means that it's super good, the deal's fire as fuck, and honestly it probably will work at list price. Let's say the deal, for example, was green. You ran it through ChatGPT, you put the comps, you pasted this information. This is just the address, the price, the square footage, beds, bath, garage, basement, and any notes you have on the property. You can just find this all on Zillow. You don't even have to talk to anyone in order to get this. It's all just sitting there. Let's say you pasted it in here, you put the comps nearby, and ChatGPT said it was a green result. What you would do now is you would send that to me and my partner Keegan. We do a review. We give you some insight on if the deal works, and we'll tell you why it does work. Or if it doesn't work, we'll give you some insight on that so you can do better on the next one. If you submit a deal to us and it doesn't work, it's not a problem. We're here to help you learn, and you'll get better at it over time. So once you submit it to us and we approve it, it goes to our professional underwriter who does a super in-depth review on the property. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes on each one just to do a super in-depth comping process to make sure it's good enough for our buyers. And then once he does that, we then pre-sell it to our end buyers, which is the awesome part. This is the whole thing where nobody does this. Nobody pre-sells it to their buyers. So what we do is we take the whole property, we tell them, the trust with these buyers is so big that we can even tell them the address. If you do not have trust with your buyers, don't tell them the address, but we just send them a whole deal card of how the numbers come out for them, and we ask them, do you want it? Are you in? Are you out? What price do you need it for? And they will then give us a green light to make an offer. And if it has gotten agreed on GPT, it is likely that the offer that the buyer needs is going to be pretty close to asking price. Typically about 5 to 10% below asking is pretty much the offers that we give out, which is very competitive. If you guys know anything about wholesaling, you normally have to come in at like a 40 to 50% discount to make it a good deal. So if a house is listed at 100K, you literally need to get it under contract at 55, 60K for it to be anywhere near a good deal. For this, it's like we would have to get this at probably 50K or 48K, and that's a good deal. And that is an extremely competitive offer that if we're closing all cash in 2-3 weeks, they're very likely to take that. So now you know the exact offer that you need to give these people in order to have it be a good deal. So you know what, let me just pull this up and show you. This is the offer template. It is extremely simple. This is what you would send over to an agent. So right here, this is not a cold call. You're not even talking to the seller. You're not even talking to the owner of the property. This is just the actual real estate agent connected to this house. Daniela right here, you would reach out to this number and you would just literally text her over this offer template. And you would say, we're an unrepresented buyer. Please write up the contract and send it over to William's email. And this is the assert price, the cash, the inspection period, the earnest money, the close date, and buyer's agent fee, and any closing costs. Talks about the title company and the buyer's name as well. This is all you need to send over. Once you send that to them, they will then write up the contract and send it to my email. And so you might be confused. You're saying, okay, well, I thought I was supposed to sign. If you want to sign, 100% go for it. But about 95% of the time, my students prefer for me to just sign the contract, and I am totally fine with that. Because when I was starting out wholesaling, the thing that always kept me from taking the first step was being afraid of the contracts. Because you know what, man? It's scary. It's scary to put your name on a contract when you're just starting and being technically liable for buying this house. This is an example of what a real contract looks like. That deal I showed at the beginning, I can just pull it up again real quick. 633 Edwards, or 633 4th Street in Carlton, you can see was listed at 36K. And right here, you can see 633, and the contract is 36K. This is the executed agreement for this closed deal, and this was signed by me. This was not signed by the student, and this is a full-on executed agreement between me and the seller. If we scroll down all the way here, you could see right here, Real Venture LLC signed, and Global Team LLC signed as the seller. And then I assigned or double closed, depending on the deal. Some deals we double close, some deals we assign, just dependent on different rules and the contract verbiage. But you can see in this contract that this is literally like 48 pages of contract verbiage that you have no idea what it means, and that's totally okay, and I didn't either. I teach students what this means as I'm signing, but I don't want you to have to learn the entire step-by-step process of every single contract and exactly what you need to say to the agent, how the whole closing process works, and talking to the title company. I don't want you to have to learn all of that before you just take the first step. So what I do is I teach you the whole process, but then you get to be hands-on, like in the field, but not actually liable for it because you aren't putting your name on here. So if I sign for you, I then wire the student the assignment fee on the outside of the transaction, and you guys get to see basically how a whole wholesale deal closes without being liable at all. Once we get a deal under contract, my team handles absolutely everything. You don't have to worry about anything at all. We have a whole transaction coordination team in place to take the deal from contract to actually closed. We have title companies who we prefer to work with, and everything is streamlined, so you don't have to worry at all. You should just be focusing on getting the next deal during that time, and any questions you have about the back end process, I will teach you. When you get a deal under contract, it takes about 14 to 30 days for that deal to officially close. Once it's closed, the assignment fee gets wired. These are just a few students whose wires I compiled lately. This was Melissa. She was the one who closed 1803 Mary. You can see this was me sending her her $4,000 assignment fee. We just actually did this, I believe this was literally yesterday. We have Eves here. I've sent him $5,000 a little bit ago. $3,000 was yesterday. You can see he's super hyped up. Gonna just keep on grinding. I've set up Eves with VAs, and he's begun to do SMS. I set him up with his business bank account, his LLC, and I'm starting to take him from kind of like a 1 deal a month, 2 deal a month to maybe even 5, 10 eventually. We have here Dylan Boland, absolute G. He just got $5,000 for a property called Claremont, and he's only been doing this a couple months, so super happy for him. And he has another deal under contract right now as well. That's getting moved along by the back end team. And then we have Zach. Zach has had 2 deals closed. He actually got 3 deals under contract in his first 10 days working with us, which is literally unheard of. And one of them ended up falling out just because of issues with the inspection period. But these 2 were able to close, and he's just doing his thing. I even have another student down here at the bottom. We have Faith. She closed a 2.5K deal, and I'm starting to teach her about different ways to invest into real estate because she actually has a few rental properties herself currently. These are real students getting real results, and like you can clearly see, they didn't need any prior connection. They didn't need any real estate experience. They didn't need to know any buyers. They didn't even need a real estate license. You don't need a license to practice this. You don't even need a big savings account. They were just willing to bet on themselves and follow a proven blueprint. Everyone wants to be that rich real estate investor with all the rental properties that are giving you the passive income. Everyone wants that. And everyone knows that the most millionaires are made every year through real estate. So why not get into real estate? But the thing is getting the money to actually invest is pretty difficult. And what you don't realize is most of the people who are these rich real estate investors started as wholesalers. The best way to get into being a rich real estate investor is wholesaling. And the best way to get into wholesaling is secured wholesaling. So this is literally the stepping stone to that end goal that you want. This is your entry point into the world of real estate. You take your first couple assignments, you reinvest it back into the business, you turn it from a 1 deal to a 5 deal to a 10 deal to a 20 deal, and then you start reinvesting those profits into your own rental properties. Then you actually start to gain that long-term wealth. And the best part about this, you already know what all the good real estate investments are because you've been selling them to investors this whole time. So now I've shown you literally the exact model. You have two choices. You can either decide to try to do this yourself, which you totally can. I believe in you. But it's going to probably take 6 to 12 months to find the right buyer, start to get the systems working. And honestly, even if you do that, you might not have done it all right. Or second option, you partner with me and my team, and now you have these vetted buyers who are willing to buy 50 plus deals a month already. You just get those plopped into your lap. You have us sign the contracts for you, and you have us literally in your pocket ready to respond to any questions that you have. If you choose to work with me, this is not something where I give you videos and I just leave. This is something where I am one-on-one supporting every single one of you guys. I've met up with my students in person. I am friends with all of my students, and you just get to text me personally, and I am there to respond not within days, not even within hours. It is typically within minutes. You can use my team, my contracts, my connections, and my capital to close with zero risk. You get to see the entirety of a wholesale deal and get paid as if you were doing it yourself, but just be liability free. And you might wonder to yourself, all right, well, I have school, I have work, I can't do this for 10 hours a day. You do not have to do this for 10 hours a day. This is something that is extremely high leverage. And just taking Zach, for example, when he got those 3 deals under contract in his first 10 days of working with us, I asked him, I was like, damn, dude, you must have been going absolutely insane. You must have been doing probably 12 hours a day, right? And he was like, to be honest, dude, I put in like 1 to 2 to maybe 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. Anyone, absolutely everyone has 5 to 10 hours a week that they can do. This does not have to be in the day. You don't even have to reach out to these real estate agents in the day. You can literally just text them at nighttime and they will respond to your text the next morning. This is something that you can do at night. And if you can allocate 1 to 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, you can clearly see great results running this blueprint. If you're serious about changing your financial future and ready to actually put in the work that is necessary and betting on yourself, I invite you to book a call with me. There's a link in the description of this video, and I will reach out within the day to see if we'd be a good fit to work together. We'll talk about your goals, any questions you have about the mentorship and this program, and then we'll map out about what your next 30 to 60 days could look like if we decide to work together. This is not for everyone. This is for action takers and people who truly believe in themselves and have an open mind. And if that is you, I look forward to speaking. Stop with the analysis paralysis. Stop with finding the deal first. Find the buyer first. Get a right mentor. Everything will change. I promise it.